Howdy, folks. It's your boy here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And of course, the other day we got the trailer for Legendary Hinoka, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at her once again, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some good partner recommendations, because of course her new C skill here, her, I already forgot what it was called, but it gives charge to allies within 2 spaces that happen to be flying type. So we're going to take a look at some good teammates that you may want to use with her to gain the effect of that charge bonus. So let's get this show on the road. Typically when I take a look at these new heroes, we also take a look at stats and all that, but we don't need to wait for the data mine right now because we already saw her stats in the trailer. So there they are right there. We have 40 for HP, we got 46 for attack, we have 46 speed, 23 defense, and 22 res. That gives her a grand total BST overall of 177, which is about in line with what you would expect nowadays from a ranged physical flyer type. Usually bows and daggers have a little bit more BST than tome units. Not really too sure why that is, but be my guest. Okay, also we can go ahead and take a look at her skill list here. So her weapon is really bonkers. It's got double type effectiveness, -1 special trigger, Canto 1, really good for a ranged flyer to just have Canto 1 instead of Canto Rem. She also has attack and speed of 6. She has a fire sweep effect if she's faster than the enemy. She's got half a null follow-up, and then she's got 20% true damage bonus based on her speed stat. So just unbelievably good weapon here for a player phaser. She also has Wings of Mercy 4 for fodder if you want to go ahead and give that out to other units, but Rallying Cry is what we're going to focus on here today. So at the start of turn, if she's in 2 spaces of an ally, she's granting the special cooldown charge +1 per attack status effect. So who else gives that? I believe Na also gave that on her weapon effect when she got her refine. So the special cooldown charge +1 bonus effect is applicable to all of your allies. Doesn't matter what movement type they are, if they're infantry or armor or cavalry or whatever, they're all going to be getting this. So at the very least, she's still offering some support to non-flyers. But the real kicker here is the charge effect. Charge is really strong, letting you just move 3 spaces ahead. You can only move in cardinal directions with charge, so you can't really abuse the 3 movement as much as you could have if it was just like getting +1 movement. But still, charge, being able to move 3 spaces is really good. You're able to cut through forest tiles and trench tiles that may be slowing your units down. So even cavalry types can benefit from charge if they have access to it. So they can just move right through those trench tiles and not be hindered whatsoever. She also has this added support here where she's debuffing enemies in 3 rows and 3 columns by speed, defense, and res -5. That's going to touch all the way to the top of the map, by the way. So it's kind of similar to Gatekeeper's attack and speed up 5 support there, where it's just this massive radius of support effect that you're getting there for all your other units to take advantage of. So very, very good C skill here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this little meme here by the Persistence on the Face subreddit. So we go ahead over here and we can take a look at this. Imagine this, but with flyers, right? So this is what I think this is the conclusion a lot of people came to yesterday after seeing what she does. So remember cav lines in Aether Raids, where you're just moving 3 spaces down with all your ranged units and attacking all the enemies on turn 1 if they don't have defense? Now you can do this with Hinoka and a bunch of flyers, because they're all going to get charged. They're all going to be able to move the full 3 spaces. In some ways, this is better than cav lines as well, because you can charge through some of the Aether Raids maps that have mountain tiles or forest tiles or trench tiles or whatever, and you're going to be able to just move right through while the enemies could possibly be hindered by stray forest tiles or trenches or whatever. So this might actually be the new alternative to cav lines here. Okay, so now let's get started. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some unit recommendations. Who do you want to actually gain charge with from Hinoka's Rallying Cry? So we're going to start things off, of course, with the Winter Cordelia. Not only is this a Fates hero, so their harmonic skill is applicable also to Hinoka. you're going to be able to get Treachery on her, so pretty bananas. Also, this unit grants triangle attack, so hers is if you're adjacent, while Bride Catria's requires you to have 2 allies within 2 spaces. Sometimes Cordelia's is better, sometimes Catria's is better, but regardless, both of these units are really good. They also offer jump support, so allies can move to a space within 1 space of any ally, so they're basically just guidance to the whole party. Pretty good for movement antics and just adding a ton of damage to your units. So I can imagine running Catria and Cordelia with the, or either one. You wouldn't want to run both, I guess, but running one or the other, most likely Cordelia because she also has the harmonic skill with the new Hinoka. In summoner duels, I would say is probably the best place to run the 2 of them together. But also Aether Raid's offense, I love running Cordelia on offense because you can just break right through those annoying-ass Medea's save balls in Darkness Season. So having triangle attack on Aether Raid's offense, really underrated. I'm not seeing too many other people do it besides me. So a very easy way to break through save team and Medea's balls in Aether Raid's Darkness Season for your offense team. Okay, now we also have the offensive heroes for your possible Cav line, Flyer line, whatever you want to call it. So Ninja Lakejarn, pretty solid offensive unit. They have a Brave attack. They got a ton of bulk. They can also pop a duo skill to move again. So a very good player phase option there. Ninja Lin as well. She's a little bit aged by this point. She doesn't hold up quite as well as she used to, but still a very good unit for player phasing. And again, just like Ninja Lakejarn, she can take a second action in the turn, so that's always a very powerful effect to have. We have the new Ascended Alincia. This is a really, really good player phaser. She is a staff unit. I could have mentioned a couple of other flying staff units too, like the Summer Hilda and also Brave Camilla, but I decided not to. Although staff units have been on the rise lately, they've gotten a ton of buffs. We have new staff specials. We have level 4 Dazzling and level 4 Wrathful Staff now, so staff units are definitely a good thing, and being able to move 3 spaces, have her charge, and then this unit does a lot of damage too. She's a really good damage dealer, so that's another good thing to keep in mind. Okay, we also have this Byleth. This would be one of the ones you would consider if you're running her for Aether Raid's defense, the Hinoka, and you want to run like a Flyer Cav line. This would be one of the premier units you want to put on that type of team because, of course, she's got Divine Pulse just like the Fallen Byleth does, but she's a Flyer unlike the other one who's infantry type. I do think the Fallen one is probably a little bit better than this one, but this unit is still a really strong player phaser. So Divine Pulse being as busted as it is, you can just take full advantage of that with charge. Okay, we also have Duo, Dagger, and Knot. This is a really good unit for their duo skill. They can provide Pathfinder to the whole team, and them being able to move 3 spaces with charge could really lead to some additional antics there. Now, Pathfinder and charge don't really mix too particularly well because charge isn't actually giving you bonus movement. The way that charge works is that it actually lets you jump. It's counted as a warp effect. So potentially Gatekeeper and Legendary Myrrh with their warp bubble would be able to stop you from using charge if they are within 4 spaces of the space that you want to move to with charge. But that's not really going to hurt too much here because still, just having Pathfinder, this is a pretty solid player phase unit as well. They have a lot of stat swings. They have null follow-up as well. They have, was it Dagger's B skill or Not's B skill? I can't remember. We can quickly check. Let's see here. Which one of their B skills? I really wish Game Press would stop doing this, by the way, having their unit recommendation builds on top of the actual base kit for the unit. I wish it was like flipped around so the base kit goes first and then they put the recommended builds after that. Okay, but Duo, Dagger, and Knot, they have Sun Twin Wing. I believe that was Dagger's, right? Yeah, Dagger. So you get null follow-up, you inflict speed and defense -5, and then that's basically... Wow. Man, these passive skills were really undertuned back in the day. I mean, at the time, this was one of the best passive B skills as far as perf B skills go, but you look at this now, and it's like, that's it? Where's the rest of the nonsense that you could do? That's just comparing it to, like, new age power creep. Not a knock against the skill. It's still pretty solid, but... wow, dude. Special Spiral 4 does more than that. Come on, and that's not even a perf skill. Okay, but regardless, my point still stands here. This unit is a good flying type unit. They have Pathfinder, so... maybe you can even mix it up, like have Pathfinder as a side unit or a side option for bonus mobility. And then charge before you, like, position your units in the way you want. Okay, we have Ninja Camilla as well. She's a pretty good, like, dual phase option. She can player phase and enemy phase quite well. So her being able to move 3 spaces. You can use her as a pivot, sort of. It's pretty specific on what units are able to safely initiate on her. You can't really attack this Camilla without being cautious, because, of course, her Vantage effect checks off res, and not a lot of units are stacking res to the amount that you would need for her. So she's pretty solid. There are ways to beat her, of course, like Hardy Bearing. I think Hardy Bearing is a must at this point, because so many units are running around with Vantage now, particularly that Fallen Byleth. But still, pretty good being able to charge in with her. We have Atri up next. Atri's not quite as insane as she was on release, but still pretty solid player phase unit. She still has Kanto 2 built in. Her B skill is still really good, even though we have, like, other units that have better B skills now. I feel like the Dragon's... what was it? Dragon's Wrath or Dragon's Ire? I can never remember which is which with those 2 skills, but one of them is basically the exact same thing as Atri's B skill. So, well, not the exact same thing, but it does the damage reduction on the first hit the enemy does, and then your next attack is amplified by the amount of damage you reduced. So it's similar in regard to that as Atri's B skill is, but Atri's B skill does a couple of other things too, like the -4 to all enemy stats. So she would be a pretty good unit to give charge to, being able to charge in, attack, and then Kanto 2 yourself out of the way. So pretty good mobility option there with charge. Okay, of course, Duo Thick needs no explanation at all. They inflict exposure, they inflict stall. Exposure alone is reason enough to be running this unit here. And then, of course, they can ramp into specials, so the longer the enemy takes, the higher their special cooldown count is going to decrease, and they can be used as a nuke-type unit. This would be another big option, I would say. If you're running the Cav line, Flyer line, and ARD with Hinoka, this Byleth right here, Brave Byleth, and this unit right here, the Duo Thick, these are the 2 you would want to definitely stick on that Aether Raids, Cav line, Flyer line hybrid team. So definitely something to take in mind. We have Yune as well. Yune is a God tier debuffer after her remix. She wouldn't be too bad for Dark Season if you wanted to run her on the Flyer line. She has some DR on the first hit, so she can tank some of the enemy's attacks. I've seen Yune on PM1's defense team. His Yune was able to survive a Divine Pulse from my Fallen Byleth. So that just goes to show how tanky Yune can be when she initiates combat. And you can give her sturdy impact and things like that. So not a bad option for ARD Flyer line if you're going to run her in Darkness Season. But really, like I said, these 2 are the ones that are stealing the show for that Flyer line option. So not bad from Yune. She's also runnable in other modes as well for the debuffing. Okay, Air. I brought up Air mainly if you're going to run Hinoka on offense. Charge is a really good skill, even if you're running her on an offense team. If it's, what is she again? Fire type. So during fire seasons for Aether Raids, you'd be able to run her without changing her blessing. So that's a good thing. You'd be able to run Hinoka with Air in light fire season, and giving charge to Air because Air is a dagger type and she can have access to disarm trap. Just run up, disable a trap, and then get her out of the way. Pretty good. I mean, disabling traps is helpful. Air herself is pretty solid for support, but not so much for player phasing. I like her new C skill where she, let's take a look, Sparkling Boost Plus, where she gives like a res check. Not really a res check, it's just like a res, yeah, she gives res up 5 to any ally during combat as long as she's over 50% HP, no matter where that ally happens to be on the map. So just +5 res to your whole team, pretty good. And then also she has the recovery at the start of the turn to whoever on your team has been dealt the most damage. So pretty good little healing tool there. This air is a really nice support to have in late season offense. So there we go with air. And then now we're going to move on to the melee units. So these would be like units you want to run for her, run with Hinoka on a like Cav line, Flyer line type of thing. Or if you're going to run her in like summoner duels, what sort of units would you want to abuse the maximum 3 range movement with the 2 range reach? So not every map, unfortunately, is favorable to ranged attacks. Sometimes you just need to have some melee type units to get in there and deal some damage, because in summoner duels in particular, far save is way more common than near save. So Valentian Pala, really good. Still holds up. She has the adaptive damage. She has the brave attack. And that's basically all she needs to be successful. She also has Kanto built into her weapons. So pretty good mobility option and also damage dealer. We have Altina, who is basically... I want to say Altina is slightly better than Pala because she has twin blades, so she can cut damage reduction. And then her remix was one of the best we've ever gotten. So another good option, just have her cut a path through with charge and move in 3 spaces. And then she can really dominate whoever she hits. So pretty good. We have also this one here. I don't really see this unit being used as much as I think she should be. So Valentian Catria, this unit's refine turned her into a god tier damage dealer. She does so much damage. Like, do you guys understand how hard this Catria hits? Let's go ahead and take a look at her refine if we can here. Are they going to tell us what her refine did? Maybe if we click on it, right? Let's see. All right, no, it doesn't look like they're going to show us the refine, unfortunately. All right, game press. Y'all got to step it up here. But take it from me, her new refine does like a shitload of damage. So Catria, definitely a good unit to be able to move 3 spaces with charge. Okay, and then finally, we just have a couple of dancers here. Being able to move 3 spaces with dancers so they can just have that extra reach. Bonus points, of course, to Dorothea and Peony, because their duo skills can also act as a dance. So in the case of Dorothea, I think it's a little better because they have the 2-range dance on characters from 3 houses and genealogy. Whereas this Peony needs to be exactly adjacent to whoever she's targeting with her duo skill to get the dance. So 2 spaces, a little bit better than 1, but still they both do pretty much the same similar things. So you're definitely going to benefit from having dancers with charge. And then finally, of course, Legendary Azura, still a good dancer with her remix. She can also Gray Wave someone to give them legitimate 3-range movement. But in some cases, charge is a little better than having +1 movement. Because like I said earlier, charge counts as a jump effect as opposed to getting +1 movement itself. So if the enemies have stall, or they have other effects that may like hinder you for having bonus movement, that's not going to work against charge. So charge is just really strong, man. I remember when we first saw the Alir from the Engage banner and she could grant herself charge and any of her support partners, I was like, yo, this is getting ridiculous now. We're giving support charge, and then here comes Hinoka just giving it to like a party-wide bonus if she can to all your flyer types. So we're getting to some really ridiculous amounts of power creep in this game. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think about the new Rallying Cry skill on this Hinoka. How do you plan to use it? Are you going to be a degenerate and make a flyer ball? Not really flyer ball, but flyer line, Cav line for ARD. And which units do you plan to be running with your Hinoka? Let me know all that in the comments section down below. I am going to be summoning on the banner. I'm not too sure how many orbs I plan to spend, but we'll see. Ophelia is also on the banner, so definitely some good stuff to be had on red.